The managerial hunt at Rangers has taken another chaotic twist, and this time, it's got fans genuinely stunned. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get more unpredictable at Ibrox, a name cropped up that no one saw coming. A name that echoes through European football, and one that's now being whispered behind closed doors in Glasgow. We're talking about none other than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the former Manchester United boss, who could be in line for a sensational move to Scottish football. Now let's back up a bit. Ever since Russell Martin's dismissal, Rangers have been scrambling to find the right man to take charge. The board, led by Andrew Kavanagh and supported by the 49ers ownership group, has been under increasing pressure from supporters desperate for stability, leadership, and above all, results. The search has been anything but smooth, and what started as a straightforward mission to bring back a familiar face quickly descended into confusion and setbacks. Steven Gerrard was at one point the favorite, the emotional return, the man who brought Rangers their long-awaited league title and reignited belief among the supporters. Talks were held, reportedly positive ones, and many believed it was only a matter of time before Gerrard was holding up the scarf once again. But then, out of nowhere, it all collapsed. The timing wasn't right, they said. The conditions weren't quite there. By late Saturday night, Gerrard had pulled out of the race, leaving fans deflated and the board scrambling once again. But not everyone believes the Gerrard chapter is completely closed. Former Rangers striker Chris Boyd has publicly said that he thinks Gerrard could still end up back at Ibrox, but not without some serious changes behind the scenes. According to Boyd, Gerrard might be using this moment as leverage to shift the power structure inside the club to ensure that if he does return, it's on his terms. And it's not hard to see why. The current hierarchy, including figures like Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart, has come under intense scrutiny. Boyd even suggested that no manager would be keen to walk into a situation where they're effectively working beneath people who've already made some questionable decisions. It's this power struggle that might be pushing Rangers towards an entirely new direction. And that brings us back to Solskjaer. Paul Scholes, speaking a bit too freely on a podcast alongside Nicky, but accidentally let slip that Rangers had met with someone in London whose name hadn't been made public. But the clues were all there. He managed Man United, didn't he? Scored the winner in the Champions League final, right? When pressed, Scholes went quiet, smirking, sweating, then saying no comment. The message was clear. Solskjaer is in the mix. And just like that, the story exploded. If Rangers are genuinely considering Solskjaer, and it seems they are, this would be one of the most fascinating appointments in Scottish football in recent memory. The Norwegian is, without question, a high-profile candidate. He's managed at the very top level, guided Manchester United to a second-place Premier League finish, and reached the Europa League final. His time at Old Trafford may have ended without silverware, but his overall win rate, over 54%, is a solid record, especially considering the shadow of Sir Alex Ferguson that still looms over that club. But it's not just about numbers. Solskjaer is known for his ability to steady the ship, to bring calm to chaotic environments, and to work with young, developing squads. His style is based on quick transitions, counterattacking football, and a tight, unified dressing room. Traits that could serve Rangers very well right now, especially after the turbulent spell under Russell Martin, whose possession-heavy tactics never quite clicked with the fans. Let's not forget, Solskjaer's most recent job was in Turkey with Besiktas, and while that didn't make headlines the way his time in England did, it added to his international experience. For a club like Rangers, steeped in history, driven by passion, and demanding success, Solskjaer might just offer that blend of stability and stature they desperately need. And make no mistake, this is a club that needs a steady hand at the wheel. Behind the scenes, though, things are just as messy as they are on the pitch. Kevin Thelwell, who was brought in from Everton to oversee football operations, is under massive pressure. His tenure has been defined by one bad decision after another. The summer transfer window was, frankly, underwhelming. The appointment of Russell Martin, a call he played a major part in, was a disaster. And now, only a few months in, the board is said to be questioning whether Thelwell should even stay in his role. Sources suggest that his influence on the ongoing manager search has already been reduced. Others are being brought in to make the big calls. For fans, that might come as a relief. The anger on social media has been growing. The message from supporters is clear. We're worse off than we were before, and someone has to take responsibility. Internally, the same sentiment seems to be echoing louder and louder. Thelwell promised structure, a clear plan, smarter recruitment, none of which has materialized. And it's not just Gerrard that slipped through his fingers. Another highly rated candidate, Kjetil Knutsen, was approached and ultimately said no. Time and time again, Rangers are coming up short in their negotiations, and patience is wearing thin. There's a growing sense that unless a strong appointment is made, and soon, the club could be heading for yet another round of upheaval. Which brings us to the current shortlist. Danny Roll, formerly of Sheffield Wednesday, is reportedly back in the frame. The young German coach made a strong impression in the championship and is seen by some as a long-term project, someone who could bring a fresh, modern approach. But given the current state of things at Ibrox, long-term planning doesn't seem to be what fans are asking for right now. They want results. They want leadership. They want direction. Also being considered is Slaven Bilic, a more experienced option who last managed in the Saudi Pro League and has a resume that includes spells with West Ham and the Croatian national team. He's said to be keen on a return to European football, and the Rangers' job could be exactly the kind of challenge he's been waiting for. According to people close to him, he's motivated, he's ready, and he's just waiting for the right call. But whether it's Bilic, Roll, Solskjaer, or a dramatic return for Gerrard, one thing is painfully clear. Rangers cannot afford to get this next appointment wrong. The atmosphere at Ibrox is tense. The trust between the supporters and the board is hanging by a thread. And with the season already slipping away, time is not on their side. As this managerial soap opera drags on, all eyes remain fixed on Ibrox. The next move could define the club's trajectory for years to come, or plunge it further into instability. But while the headlines continue to swirl around who's going to take the manager's seat, there's a bigger storm brewing inside the club, one that's quietly shaking the very foundation of the football operations at Rangers. Kevin Thelwell, the man brought in to provide structure, vision, and a modern approach to recruitment, is now right at the center of the internal crisis. His grip on decision-making power is slipping, and it's becoming increasingly clear that his future at Ibrox is hanging in the balance. The frustration among supporters has turned into full-blown outrage. After months of promises about smarter signings, better planning, and long-term stability, the reality has been anything but. The summer transfer window came and went with very little to show. Key areas on the pitch were left unaddressed. Players were brought in who haven't lived up to expectations. And worst of all, the one decision that was supposed to define Thelwell's early tenure, the appointment of Russell Martin, ended in complete failure. Martin was never fully embraced by the supporters, and his tactics, style of play, and overall leadership failed to inspire either the dressing room or the fan base. He barely lasted long enough to make a dent before being shown the door, and now the club is right back at square one. Internally, the fallout has been massive. Thelwell's influence on the next managerial appointment has reportedly been scaled back significantly. Where he was once calling the shots, now senior figures like Andrew Kavanagh and others within the 49ers group are stepping in to take a more hands-on role. The trust that was placed in Thelwell when he arrived from Everton has eroded. The board no longer seems convinced that he's the right man to steer the footballing side of the club forward. One insider said it plainly: "We can't afford to rely on one man's judgment anymore. Not after the summer we've just had." It's a damning indictment of a man who was supposed to bring clarity and confidence to a club still trying to rebuild after previous managerial setbacks. Instead, Thelwell's time in Glasgow has been marked by indecision, questionable calls, and a recruitment strategy that's failed to deliver. And yet, the chaos off the pitch is only making the situation on it worse. With no clear direction, no permanent manager, and a fractured hierarchy behind the scenes, the squad itself is starting to show signs of instability. Players are reportedly unsure of what lies ahead. Training sessions lack the intensity that comes from having a firm hand in charge. Some senior players are said to be growing frustrated with the lack of clarity, while younger talents are unsure where they fit in moving forward. That's why this next appointment is so critical. Whoever steps into the dugout won't just be tasked with winning matches. They'll be expected to pull this fractured environment back together, to re-establish authority, to reconnect with a supporter base that's become increasingly disillusioned. And to do it all while the noise around the club continues to grow louder by the day. The Gerrard saga, while dramatic, highlights exactly how complicated things have become. There was real belief that his return could offer instant stability. Someone who understands the club. Someone who commands respect. But even that fell apart. Not necessarily because Gerrard didn't want to come back, but because the environment wasn't right. Reports suggest he had serious reservations about working under the current structure. That unless he was given more control, more authority, and a bigger say in football operations, he wasn't interested. And that speaks volumes about the dysfunction behind closed doors. Even potential targets like Slaven Bilic and Danny Roll are said to be asking similar questions. Who will they report to? Will they be allowed to build their own team? Will they have influence over recruitment? Or will they be handed players without any input? These are not minor details, they're deal breakers. And until Rangers clarify their internal structure and decision-making process, they'll continue to face rejection from top-tier candidates. That brings us back to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. On paper, his profile is hard to ignore. European experience, a calm, measured approach, a knack for working under pressure. But the question remains, would Solskjaer walk into a club that's still trying to figure out who's in charge of what? Would he accept a job where his authority might be challenged from above before he's even named the manager? That's the real battle Rangers are facing right now. It's not just about finding a manager. It's about convincing that manager they're walking into a functional, unified football club and not a political minefield. Meanwhile, the list of names being considered continues to grow. From the familiar to the bold, from young thinkers to battle-tested veterans. But the longer the search drags on, the more restless the fanbase becomes. Every day, without an announcement, adds to the pressure. Every leaked name that turns the club down adds to the embarrassment. And every internal dispute that spills out into the media adds to the perception that Rangers are drifting without direction. There are whispers, too, that a few left-field candidates are being quietly sounded out. Managers with different profiles. Some with strong connections to European football. Others who are more known for their work in player development than silverware. It's clear that Rangers are exploring every possible avenue. But without a coherent plan, it all starts to feel a bit desperate. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Morgan Whittaker is reportedly on the brink of sealing a move to Rangers, and the gossip around Ibrox is buzzing louder than ever. Sources close to the club suggest that the deal is practically done, though official confirmation is yet to land. If true, this would mark a significant coup for the Glasgow Giants, who are keen to add both goals and depth to their attacking lineup. Whittaker, known for his electric pace and eye for goal, could be exactly the injection of dynamism Steven Gerrard's men have been craving. Fans are already dreaming of the possibilities. Whittaker's ability to stretch defenses and create opportunities out of nothing could see Rangers' front line transformed into one of the most feared in the Premiership. There's talk that his versatility will allow him to play across the front three, giving tactical flexibility and easing the burden on the club's star strikers. Even the coaching staff are said to be excited about what he could bring, with insiders suggesting he could make an immediate impact on European nights. The rumor mill has also been spinning with speculation about the financial side of the deal. While numbers haven't been made public, it's believed Rangers have moved swiftly to secure Whittaker before other interested clubs swoop in. Some supporters are already imagining him linking up with existing forwards, creating a potent attacking trident that could light up the Scottish Premiership. Social media has been awash with clips of his previous goals, fans commenting on his sharp movement and knack for finding the net in crucial moments. Of course, as with all transfer whispers, caution is advised. There's a sense of optimism in the air, but until Whittaker is paraded at Ibrox or the contract is signed, it remains tantalizingly unconfirmed. Still, the chatter alone has sent ripples through the Rangers fanbase, who are eager for reinforcements capable of taking the club back to domestic glory and making waves in Europe. If the deal goes through, Morgan Whittaker could well become one of the Premiership's most talked-about names this season, and the prospect of him firing in goals at Ibrox has supporters on the edge of their seats. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.